Hey guys, just finished watching Arrow, Season 6, Episode 12, All for Nothing. This episode was interesting. I mean, nothing super duper really happened in here that kind of got me or anything like that. No real big thing going on in this episode. I mean, it's only this episode 12 of 23 type thing, so there still is a bit to go in here. But there is interesting stuff that does happen throughout the episode. Let's jump into the list here. The list first thing is we get the Argus divers and stuff. That was interesting. That way, it was kind of a little bit difficult to explain though that their earpieces were hardwired or in their head, and that how somehow he was able to kill people with that. It just seemed a bit weird that their comms were able to kill them. That didn't make sense to me how that happened. And if that's the case, then how come Oliver and all their guys, or what's the difference between these Argus divers and their communications versus the one that Oliver and his team and the other team and the way all they're using type of thing? What's the difference between that? They never really showed that. Maybe they didn't have time to show it, but it was just kind of weird as to how exactly their comms were able to kill them type of thing. That didn't make sense to me. And there was the cool bit just about the honeymoon idea with Felicity and Oliver wanting to go on the honeymoon in Aruba. And I think that could be interesting to see if we get to see them actually go on their honeymoon. I think that could be cool. Maybe see an episode like that, and then whatever the cliffhanger is for season 7. If I'm not mistaken, it might be confirmed for season 7. I did see season 7 added on IMDb, so I don't know if it's been confirmed or not, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe I'll put it in the video as I edit it. Whether or not we get a confirmation for season 7, that would be cool. And then we get we find out that Oliver finds out that Vigilante is good and he's working with the other team. That was interesting with that, and how that played along. And it didn't really go away the way that you kind of expected, with Oliver kind of being against it and stuff. He was kind of actually a little bit for it type thing, and I liked the way they were playing with that. And then the whole storyline, it was kind of interesting with Black Siren kind of following around Quentin and dealing with that, and Quentin and what's her face, Thea, which again, Thea is kind of, she's not really doing much in this episode. She's just kind of like Quentin's shadow kind of thing, kind of helping him out with his thing, but it's not really a big storyline for her. So I would kind of like to see her kind of leave and go to the Legends type thing. Now I know she just got out of a coma and all that stuff. Maybe she's still recovering from that, but she's still doing pretty well. She's able to handle herself. She doesn't seem like she's sick or anything like that. So I think it would be really cool to see her go over to Legends of Tomorrow. And also with Gideon on the ship, couldn't she just lay in that ship in the med bay on the Rave Rider and just be healed up from whatever leftover sickness or whatever she has left over from being in a coma for so long. So, and it wasn't even that long. She was only in it for a couple of months. It wasn't like she was in it for years on end or decades or anything like that. So I think it would be cool to see her join Legends of Tomorrow, but I doubt that we will get that since we already have Wally West coming to Legends of Tomorrow. So hopefully we can get her, at some point, to join the Legends of Tomorrow as well. I feel like her going there, spending a couple of seasons there, maybe 3 or 4 seasons on Legends of Tomorrow, then coming back. I think that would be the way more interesting, different version of her, maybe more vital version of her. And also I feel like the writers would be a little bit different. Give the writers a break for this character and let some other writers write with her over on Legend of Tomorrow. I think that would be really cool to see that, but we'll have to wait and see with that. So then we get to see Vince, the Vigilante, he gets caught by Kate and James, and then Felicity talks to him through the mic piece and stuff, and is able to tell him some words to convince Kate and James excuse me, that he's actually knows what he's doing when it comes to tech stuff and all that stuff, which was, I thought it was going to bite him and it come back at his face when he's asked a different question he's not able to answer without Felicity in his ear type thing. So then we get that, and then we get Kate and James. So he gets caught once and then caught another time. That doesn't really happen. It goes down. And then Vigilante gets tortured by Kate and James, and Black Siren he's caught by Quentin Lance, or caught. I mean, she walks into the room with the projector and all the photos and stuff of our Laurel from his Laurel from this Earth type thing. It was an interesting idea the way they're playing with that. It looks like she's kind of getting on that path to redemption a little bit, but I'd like to see maybe from now on, or for a few episodes, have like little spikes, so it's like, oh, it looks like she's about to be good, and then go down, and then go right down, like she just killed him and she had some remorse, and now she's just kind of stuffing those feelings down, and then being really bad for a bit, and then going back. I like to play with that idea and not have her just kind of start just on the path to being good and that's it, stay on the path to be good. I like to see her just kind of go up and down and up and down, and every time she does something, there's that little bit of hope you see in her that Quentin's able to see in her. All of a sudden she does something so bad that he can't see it anymore type thing, and then he goes back up. I love to see the play with that and have that go the roller coaster with the kind of will she or won't she, with Black Siren becoming good, becoming bad, staying bad, and all that stuff. I think that would be cool to play with that, because I really don't want her to be good too soon, because I feel like it's just like replacing Laurel that we had type thing. And yes, it's a total different character, but if she becomes the same Laurel that she was, then it just kind of becomes moot type thing as to the whole death of Laurel. So I'd like to really keep this and drag this out for a little while. I really hope she doesn't become good by the end of this season, because that would be not a good idea. I wouldn't like that. I'd like to see her maybe in another full season of her as bad-ish, but kind of going up and down between the different ideas of her being good and bad and stuff like that. I think that could be cool to play along with that and how things go. Maybe she could get, at one point she can get captured by Argus or something like that, and there's no way of anyone keeping her out of prison, and she has forced to stay in prison, and that's where she just builds up anger type of thing, and then she breaks out again, only to do different things and stuff. So I think it would be really cool to see that and see where she goes with that character there and how she kind of her feelings go. But like I said, I wouldn't want her to become good by the end of the season. That would be way too early for her. Then we get the Outsiders go after Vance. The Outsiders being the Dinah Drake, Black Canary, and Mr. Terrific and Wild Dog. They call themselves the Outsiders once, so I figured I'd go with that for their team name. And then they go after Vince and stuff, but Oliver goes after the hostages, which makes more sense. Obviously, the hostages versus the guy who has healing factor type thing, and the one criminal guy who's inside of a criminal organization knows what he's getting into type thing. So it made total sense for Oliver to go after that. We also had the Helix girl, I forget her name there, what's her, Eliza, but the Felicity Jr., the girl from Helix or from I forget the name of it, but that was cool seeing her back. She didn't really do much here. She got some little bit of information. Don't know why Felicity wasn't able to help with that, but it was interesting to see that and see if she continues around, maybe as Felicity's kind of mentor type of thing. That could be cool. She could join Curtis and Felicity's startup company. That'd be interesting to see that and how that could help with, and have her help a little bit too throughout the episode. So it's interesting the way they had her in the episode, but not really, they didn't really focus on her whatsoever type thing. We didn't really get anything of her. She was just a plot device pretty much, or a tool in the episode. She wasn't even considered a character in this thing. She was just, there we go, there's just something that helps fix it out type thing. So it was really the way they used it. So it was interesting to see that and see if we get to see more of her as time goes on. Then we see Dinah trapped underneath the rubble as she watches Black Canary, she watches Vince die type thing, and she gets Black Canary screams in his ear type thing, pretty much killing him, which is an interesting idea to play with that. It's really going to be fun to see how that goes when we finally get another battle between Black Canary and Black Siren and Black Canary type thing. The two of them going at each other, really going at each other this time. Like they both have something to fight for type thing. I think that could be cool to see that. And they're set it up on Black Canary's end, how it's really she's really gonna give it all out. It'd be cool to see them scream so long and for so powerful that things just kind of destroy themselves. I think that'd be really cool. Although it would be interesting to see somehow, thinking if for some reason they were fighting inside of a plane and they both just destroy the plane and they're just free falling with no parachutes whatsoever, both of them screaming at each other while falling type thing. I think that could be a cool idea, and then being forced to use their scream to fall out of a plane, fall off a really high building, and use that to cushion their fall. I think that could be really cool to see. That type of thing would be quite interesting to see them go at it with their screams. And then also seeing whatever the fallout of that is, maybe somehow, Black Siren gets really injured a lot, and Quentin finds out, and he's kind of, gets mad at Dinah type thing, that maybe she's kind of, ruining any chances that Black Siren has to redeeming herself type of thing. And I think that could be cool to see, also playing with that, how that's going to continue on with that relationship and bringing everyone in together. But then again, you still have Thea just on the outside, I think, not really affected by anything, not really in there doing anything type thing. So really would like to see her do something, maybe go somewhere else and hang out, something just to change her up, to use her more as a character rather than just having her there just to have her there type thing. It's a waste of a character, in my opinion, the way they're using her, because she's just there for fun. She's not really being used that well or doing anything much at all. So that was interesting with that. And then we get, Black Siren had that doubts, about killing Vince and stuff. And like I said, with that, I really don't want her to be good by the end of the season. Really want to hold that off. Definitely have some, really make it a roller coaster of where we never know when she'll turn good, but then do something bad, type thing. We never know when that good part will actually stick. So I think it could be cool to play with that roller coaster with that there. And then we get the Dinah going on the killing spree, and that's really going to be fun to see where that goes with that. So all in all, it was an okay episode. Nothing too much really kind of stood out for me here. Nothing really super duper. But otherwise, it was just okay episode. Really not going to remember too much of it going on other than, the Vince thing. But other than that, nothing else really stood out in this episode. So I guess I'd like to see things changed up. I just don't find the whole Caden James and all his army guys really interesting. I prefer a little bit more of the comic book style characters, like the Ra's al Ghul, the Slade Wilson, the Deathstroke type thing. Same thing, but or the Malcolm Merlins and all that. Those are really more interesting characters, villains for me. These villains are just, he's able to hack things, which is an interesting idea, but it just seems a bit boring, and we've seen things like that before type thing. There's nothing new. I feel like we've seen a lot of these things, these type of villains throughout these different comic book shows. So maybe they can change things up. It does sound interesting that sounds like there's someone else who's framing the Green Arrow for killing Keaton James' son. So that could be cool to see whoever that is. That could be interesting to see that. Maybe it could be one of the guys inside. If it is just one of the guys he has a mole with, then that would just kind of be boring, because even the other guys would be kind of boring. But hopefully it could be someone else, someone more comic booky, someone more character from the comics. I think could be interesting to see that. So definitely it's going to be interesting to see where things go with that, and who is that secret person who's maybe part of his team. I have a feeling it's probably someone like Richard Dragon, since Richard Dragon was set up so much in the last episode, or so much, like I've heard a lot of people talk about it in their other reviews and stuff. So it's really going to be interesting to see where things go, and who ends up being that mysterious person who leaked the photo of Oliver with his hood off to the media, photoshopped it, and who made this fake video of Oliver accidentally shooting Keaton James' son type of thing. So that's really going to be cool to see where things go with that. And again, we still have no reference, that unless I missed it, of Barry being in prison. It drives me crazy. No one's texted him. No one's sent anything to Oliver or Felicity or anything like that, or it hasn't even popped up at all on their TV. I mean, how does that make no sense? A CSI, a police officer, essentially goes to jail type thing. So that would make news all over the place, especially the surrounding cities would easily cover that. I don't understand how they haven't seen that, how they don't know about it yet. People knew yet. Over on the Flash, I knew instantly when Oliver was outed as the Hood type thing, was outed as Green Arrow for a little bit. So that was just kind of like, why does it only work one way? Why does Arrow only get referenced in Flash, but Flash never gets referenced in Arrow? I mean, we did get Captain Singh here and stuff, but other than that, I mean, don't get anything about the whole thing that Barry's in prison right now. Drives me crazy. So yeah, hopefully we get it soon. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe there's a reason why, but maybe we get some. It just seems a bit late now if they finally end up hearing about it type thing as to where things are going. Or maybe they'll hear about it. Maybe they won't hear about it now that Barry's being transferred to actually a metahuman thing, but that's a whole other thing for the Flash videos. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below. What do you think about it? Where do you think things are going? Who do you think is the mole within Keaton James' thing, leaking the photos and making these fake videos? And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'm Captain America, here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have.
Subscribing.
Sometimes subscribing is the key to victory. Sometimes it leads to very little, and it seems like it's not worth it. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing. How many more of these?
You're still here.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Peace.
It's over.